Well, to touch on the readings at least a little bit, we did hear about how we have different gifts of the Spirit. We're meant to do different things in life. But we also heard in our second reading today that baptism by fire, that trial by fire, what you might call a sink or swim moment, when you really find out what you can and can't do. At the end of 8th grade, if you have not yet experienced a moment like that, just you wait, they're coming. They're a part of life. And what I want to say to you for our final time together is that those moments of learning by experience, sink or swim moments, trials by fire, they're nothing to fear. They're actually something to rejoice in, because they keep life interesting. That's when you really learn who you are and what you're capable of. And they're not worthy of your fear or anxiety. See, different cultures have a different way of regimenting a human life, of how to measure a human life. I read once that some people think of it like the seasons. You're born, and that's springtime. Your childhood is your springtime. And then what we might call the prime of your life is summer. As you're getting older, what we might call middle age, that's your autumn years. And then when you're older, that's winter. I don't know exactly where that comes from. I'm not going to talk about that today. But there's another one of these little, life plans that I wanted to touch upon. It's the one I enjoy the most. It's very simple. 3 steps. Apprentice, journeyman, sage. I had a little chat with Mr. Mack today before 6th grade, and he actually told me that you guys did learn a little something about that. It's nice to know I don't need to start from the bare basics. But apprentice, journeyman, sage. That's the trek we're all on. You guys know what apprentices are. Journeyman, that's basically, for those of you in the back that haven't been told by Mr. Mack, a journeyman is basically someone that's out on their own. They're not a master yet, but they kind of know what they're doing. And a sage is another word for expert, master. When you're a sage, you know everything there is to know about the thing or things you do and have dedicated your life to. So to rip the Band-Aid off right away, none of you are sages yet. None of you are masters of anything. Life is way more interesting than that. You are not a master of anything when you're 14. And some of you could think, you could be thinking to yourself, Father Justin, we could crush you at Fortnite. I'm not disputing that. But that doesn't mean you're an expert. It just means that you're awake and you have thumbs. I'm very easy to beat in anything competitive. So you're not there yet. Some of you are closer than others. I'm not doubting that. Some of you are profoundly skilled, not denying that. Just saying, you guys have a ways to go. Thank God. How horrible would that be if you learned everything you needed to know by the time you were 14? Life is way more interesting than that. No, right now, you are making a milestone on moving on from being an apprentice. Because, back in the olden days, when you learned like a trade, like a carpenter or a blacksmith, an apprentice does nothing but stay in the workshop, watch their master work, maybe clean the workshop, or do the most basic, rudimentary tasks. The problem with being an apprentice, the reason nobody wants to be an apprentice, is you have no credibility. No one trusts you with anything. Your role in life as apprentice is to be quiet, watch, and learn, and wait for your master to decide when it's time to move up in the world. In the modern world, you guys are apprentices in that you are students. It is your lot in life as middle schoolers to sit down, be quiet, look at the board, and just take your notes. That's important. We need that in life, but I'm sure you will all agree with me that it's really boring. It is not the fun part of learning. And being finished with middle school, you guys are making a huge milestone in putting that behind you. You're not completely done yet. There is still that kind of learning in your life, certainly with high school and college and any further education from there. But I will tell you now, you will have less of that going forward. You will have more freedom and more opportunity to learn things the way you want to learn them. And that brings me to that nature of journeyman. You are significantly closer to being a true journeyman, because when you're a journeyman, that means you are no longer in your master's workshop. You are on your own. And when you're a journeyman, it basically means that you're capable of basic tasks. You're capable of intermediate tasks. You don't really know what you're doing yet for, more advanced stuff. But it's at the point now where you need to learn it for yourself. When you are in that middle phase of life, which dare I say is the most interesting part of being alive, it's realizing that you have the foundation of basic education. You basically know what you're doing. You know which end of the screwdriver to use. But when you have a complicated task in front of you, to be a journeyman means to look at that giant pile of whatever, wood and screws and metal, and say, there is no textbook that is going to tell me what to do, and no one is going to hold me by the hand. It is time to roll up my sleeves and get to work. And what's so great about being in this phase of life is everything can be a teaching moment. Some of your most utter failures in life, which I'm not wishing upon you, even your failures will teach you something, because there is an infinite degree of difference between doing something wrong when you're just watching and not doing anything and not interacting, and when you learn by doing something incorrectly and just knowing that you have no choice but to take it all apart, start over, and do better. That is the joy of that. That is the only way you become a sage. It is the only way you become an expert. No one has ever become an expert at anything in life by reading books and never, ever experimenting and experiencing things in life. Okay, think of going to a 5-star restaurant and ordering the most fantastic meal on the menu, and you learn that the chef has never actually made it before. I would change my order. That chef is not trustworthy in that way, because we have to learn by experiencing things. You are continuing on your road in life, and you are going to be doing more of that. You are going to be listening less and doing more. Sometimes you'll do it right the first time. Other times you'll make a mistake and have to do it again. Whatever. That doesn't really matter. What matters is you are now growing, and you have the freedom and ability to start truly becoming who you are through your own will, through your faith, of course, and your hope and love, and to truly grow as the Holy Spirit intends for you to grow. So I ask you to joyfully look forward to what comes. Life can be challenging, but it is immensely joyful, and it is immensely entertaining if only you are willing to see it as opportunity. Wherever you go outside those doors, go with enthusiasm and self-confidence. You can do it. You have absolutely not learned everything you need to learn from St. Francis Cabrini's school. Absolutely not. Like I said before, life is way more interesting than that. But I sincerely hope that you look back on these years fondly, knowing that you have a firm foundation, not only of facts and knowledge and the skills you could get from any learning institution, but you have also grown in faith. You have grown in hope. You have grown in love. And you are going out into the world with profound advantages that not everyone shares. So once again, look forward to what comes next. Be firm in your self-confidence, because you can do it, whatever awaits you. And know that from Father Nathan and Deacon Mike and the staff of the church and all the teachers and principals, know that you will be sorely missed, but you have our full confidence wherever you go from here. And God bless every single one of you.